Hi, this is Robin with the Brain Energy Support Team, and I'm going to show you a video. It's how to make quick, easy biscuits and gravy. So the reason I chose this recipe is because it's like a roux, so you can make a sauce, and we're going to use sausage this time for biscuits and gravy, but you can also use it with hamburger. So if you're making like hamburger gravy over rice, you can use this recipe, or hamburger gravy over mashed potatoes or anything like that. The reason I'm using it is because I have some leftover sausage and biscuits and gravy sounded good, and it's very simple. So you can make this at home very easily, and I just want to share it with you. So here we go. So first we're going to take and turn our stove onto about medium heat. I'm going to let that pan warm up. Then I want to add, now I have pre-cooked sausage. You can cook your own, but I had some leftover, and that's why I chose this recipe also. I used 2 sausage links. So the recipe that I'm using right now is for 4 servings. You'd want to double that if you want to make 8. So here's 2 sausage links. I've chopped them. I do it kind of finely because I like that. So there's the 2 sausage links, and I'm going to go ahead and place those in my pan. Now you can use butter, a little bit of butter just to get some grease going in here. I don't know if grease is the best word, but some kind of flavoring, because like with bacon you get a lot of grease, with sausage you don't get so much. So anyway, I'm just going to let this heat up for just a second. And then the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of flour. So I'm just going to add that right now. When I was making this recipe before, I would always make a roux first, but this is just as easy. Actually easier, so that's the way I've started doing it. So I'm going to get 2 tablespoons of flour in here. And like I said, you can add butter if you want. So I'm just going to stir that around. So this is basically what you have in your pan. Okay. The recipe also calls for 1 1/4 cups milk. So I'm going to slowly add that and stir it in. So you can use a whisk, which I think would be probably a little bit better than using a wooden spoon. Got to get all the good stuff in there. So basically I'm just going to whisk this around. So this is going to make sausage gravy, but what you can do is, if you're making hamburger gravy, you can add things like onions. You could put in some beef bouillon. You could put in some garlic salt, or I'd put garlic powder probably, because I like to salt my foods after. And so you're just going to stir this and whisk it up to keep it moving. So in my sausage gravy, I like lots of pepper, so we're going to add some pepper. Take the lid off. So I probably added about 1/8 of a teaspoon, 1/4 of a teaspoon. I like to salt and pepper to taste. I don't like somebody else telling me in a recipe how much to put in or not. So we're going to bring this, turn it up a little bit to medium high. So we're going to get it boiling. And with the COVID-19, we weren't allowed to go out and eat and things like that. So I was cooking quite a bit at home. I still am. I always like to cook. But this is just such an easy recipe that, and versatile, that I just kind of keep it in my memory. Usually I don't measure, but since I'm making a video, I thought I would measure. So it's starting to thicken up already. So you're just going to keep stirring this up. And you can make homemade biscuits. You can use the rolled biscuits. My favorite thing for biscuits and gravy, because I'm not really good at making homemade biscuits yet, is just to buy the ones that come in the freezer section, because they turn out really nice and fluffy. They have a much better homemade taste than the ones that are rolled up, in my opinion. So just keep stirring this, and I can see already that it's thickening. You can use cream if you don't have milk. I mean, there's so many substitutes. You don't have to be afraid of this recipe. I've used cream before. I've used milk. I've used half and half. If you're using cream, it'll probably thicken up a bit, have a little bit sweeter of a taste. So that looks pretty good. And the ratio, 2 sausage links, you could probably do more if you wanted, but that's not too bad. I only had 2, so that's what I added. So I'm going to move the camera a little bit so you can see. So now it's starting to bubble, boil, and thicken up. So you're just going to keep stirring this until it's about the consistency you want. You don't want it too runny, you don't want it too thick. But I mean, that was 1, 2, 3 ingredients. So simple. I guess 4 with pepper, 5 with salt if you want to add it, but very simple. And like I said, you could put hamburger in this. Instead of sausage, make a hamburger gravy and add a little bouillon, beef bouillon. So this is the basic sauce that you would use for just about anything. Make a chicken gravy. And yeah, it's thickening up very nicely. And so I'm going to turn this down a little bit. So that's about the thickness I would like to see it at, maybe a little tiny bit thicker than that. And it'll thicken as it cools. There we go. And don't be afraid. I mean, you can always add more milk if it gets too thick. And then you just want to adjust your spices in there. And to be honest, sometimes I'll add a little chicken bouillon to this just to give it a Scotia flavor, just a pinch. But like I said, you don't have to. So this is about the thickness I like. So let's take that off the heat. So I've got a biscuit and I buttered it 2 halves there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the gravy on. So I'm ladling the gravy. So there we go. Biscuits and gravy. So like I said, very, very simple, very easy thing. And you can use leftovers. You can actually use bacon. I've seen people do bacon gravy, and you get a little bit more grease, a little bit more flavor. But very delicious, very easy to make. Took me, 5-10 minutes at the most. And much better than canned, much better for you than the packet mixes, because they contain a lot of chemicals. So go ahead and try to make this at home, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.